2021, the All Blacks retained/regained the Rugby Championship. Razzie Erasmus published the most controversial rugby video since I made that musical episode, and Juan Cruz Bonilla got a red card against Wales. But in amongst Finn Russell's ominous cheeky grins and Roman Untermach's hair staying effortlessly in place, this was a year in which some rugby was played by some people. And in order to celebrate the best of that rugby and the best of those people, it's time for this, the Squidge Rugby Team of the Year for 2021. And today it's time to fill out the scrum as we dive into the best front rowers of the year. This year, prop after prop met their match. This year, Frans Malherbe, Tadhg Furlong, Xander Fagerson, Carl Sinclair, Taniela Tupou headed into one particular fixture, expecting to edge, even dominate the scrum. And yet, this year, one man turned on its head by being the prop other props dread to face. That man who struck fear into the heart of so many Lions, World Cup winners and world-class talents from across the globe. That man is a bloke from Llandovery called Sausage. Wyn Jones has taken the long way round. Whereas Tupou was a teenage sensation on YouTube, or Sinclair and Fagerson playing for countries at an early age, Wyn Jones spent his formative years working on the family farm playing amateur rugby. Over several years, Jones worked his way up to the Welsh Prem before a man of the match showing in the World Cup final made the Scarlet sit up and take notice. Starting with just 5 appearances in his first 2 years, Jones had to wait to take his chance, slowly establishing himself whilst others were away at the 2015 Rugby World Cup, before 2 years later winning his own first cap for Wales. And then, just the same, he slowly crept up the ladder, becoming second choice before even slower, steadily climbing above Rob Evans for both club and country until he was Wales's incumbent loosehead. What seemed like the final step on his slow ascent from the lower leagues. But no. 2021 told us we've only seen the start of Wyn Jones' story as he started eyeing up a number 1 spot, not just seen on the back of his shirt. The Six Nations saw him showcase his best form to date, scoring a try against Scotland and approaching every part of the game with vigour and valour. His jackling was crucial for Wales, his carrying was a huge step up this year, and he also scrummaged brilliantly. The Welsh scrum was incredibly strong in the Six Nations, something forgotten after South Africa dominated Jones' understudy Rhys Carey in the autumn, and whilst getting on the Lions tour will be a career highlight for Sausage, it was ultimately a bittersweet experience. Due to start the first test, he pulled up injured, limited to only playing the first 30 minutes of the third test instead. However, while short-lived, this was perhaps the only period all of Rasmus' era where South Africa have looked under pressure at the scrum. Jones is a technician of a scrummager, using everything he's learned over his slow climb to the top, rather than raw power, and he unleashed that knowledge on the Springboks. Other props may be more flashy, more powerful, more explosive, but give Sausage time, and that man will prove his point time and time again. It's been a tough year for Julian Montoya. I don't think the Argentina captain's been home since about 2006. Stuck on the road, always on a plane, probably left watching the Christmas Prince movies all autumn tour after he'd watched everything else on Netflix, as his teammates completed the schedule that, as his sketchy predecessor might have said, is not respect. However, Julian Montoya himself never showed it. Argentina's not had the finest 12 months after their exceptional 2020, winning just 2 games, but there was not a single match in 2021 where you would say Montoya deserved to be on the losing team. He quite simply does everything. His tough stuff is brilliant, his work rate exceptional, and his turn of pace at this point kind of isn't surprising, yet he still made an absurd number of breaks in open play and made the most of them. Whilst Matera occasionally gave off one-man team vibes as captain, Montoya is more of a, come on all of you, get on my back, I'll haul you at least closer to the try line. Virtually everything good Argentina did this year was thanks to their captain making inspired play of some kind. The FIDM might be strong with him, but why would you want to do anything else when you're the best your team has to offer? Julian Montoya's place was never in doubt. Do you ever stop and think about how fitting a name tighthead is for the position, whereas others are all made-up terminology and fulfilling rugby-centric bullshit? A tighthead is literally the player whose head has to go into the tightest space, and this year, that tight space might as well be the gap between the best and the rest of the best. This was an incredibly close-fought thing. 4 players nigh on for one shirt. Trevor Nyakani has been an excellent player his entire career, but this year became a world-class one. Taniela Tupou wore the shirt outright last year, and God, he was superb again this year. His power, pace, ability to deliver passes like this, and then blow the Springboks off the ball. He's held from the shirt just by the sheer minutes, moments of game time that he got, ready to deploy them superbly as an impact player, and it worked well for the Wallabies, but cost him this individual glory. But Tadhg Furlong got better and better as the year went on, every game seemingly somehow improving, and he started the thing pretty bloody well. That man's an absolute potato mountain, a mighty mass of spud scrumming and smashing all over the place, nudging him so close to the shirt. Except I had to go back to the criteria, because I've always said these shirts belong in part to the player who made us feel the most this year. And if that's even the slightest consideration in the criteria, there can be no tighthead in this team other than the talisman of Harlequins, icon of England, Shauna Brown. Shauna's story is well known at this point. Retiring from the hammer throw after the 2014 Commonwealth Games, Brown, who had also boxed professionally on the side, took up rugby because she was essentially bored. 2 years later, she was playing for England. 3 years after that, she's possibly the best prop in the world. Brown is an excellent tight forward, but the true appeal of Shauna Brown isn't how she plays, but how you feel watching her. Maybe it's because she's so animated, but watching Brown play is an inspiring, emotional experience. She's a prop who covers every blade of grass, superb at the breakdown, a tireless tackler, and seemingly always carrying, but every aspect is more impressive for how recently it seems it was that she lasted something. You can't help but get wrapped up in a performance every week. You start to feel it. She's a front rower who feels like she's willing to lay down everything she is every week, and once you hit the later stages, you can see the effort on her face as she wins decisive turnovers. Brown's performance in Quinn's heroic title-winning upset was probably the best I saw any front rower play this year, and the speech afterwards doubled down on the inspiration. And it's for that ability to turn heads and fill hearts that Shauna Brown gets the shirt. Other tight head contenders, Brown's male counterpart, Kyle Sinclair, had a very strong year. 2019 Totty alumni Sarah Byrne also started for England and looks back to her absolute best towards the end of the year. Rose Bernardi was an absolute ball of destruction for France. Andrew Port had his best year of his career. Thomas Francis, also quietly very good. His work rate on his own ball is superb, and he was borderline dominant since joining the URC with the Ospreys. However, I do want to take a moment to say, at Chile's Matthias Deitus. He's a bowling ball rolled through the heart of Tier 2 rugby, an absolute weapon of a scrummager who's hard to stop when he has the ball in his hands too. Hookers, it was very almost an incredible year for Julian Marchand, the best hook in the Six Nations, only to copper ban for 2 weeks at the tail end of the season, but instead of missing some dead rubber games, he missed the European final before being left at home for the summer by France, then denied a chance to participate in the iconic demolition of New Zealand by a minor injury. Marchand was some better luck away from making this team. England threw up 3 contenders, Jamie George, Luke Cowan-Dickey and Amy Cockayne, while South Africa threw up 2 in Bonke Mbonambi and Malcolm Marks. Cannonball Ken missed the autumn, but was an absolute try machine up until then. What a hero. As was Dane Coles, who borderline shat out tries every time he touched the ball. Cody Taylor, also superb. Ronan Keller had a breakthrough season. Agatha Shosha was excellent for France, and Gianmarco Lucchesi had a huge breakthrough year, knocking his then national captain out of the starting spot, scoring a load of tries. Luzette, speaking of scoring tries, Thomas Gallo had a big breakthrough year as well, with Cyril Bai pushing Winjo's tightest for that starting shirt at number 1 after an extremely well-rounded year for France and Toulouse. Rory Sutherland had another excellent year. Oxen Shea was an absolute guy, what a bloody player. Proper contender for this team, and so was Stephen Kitchoff, who also impressed. We are now over halfway through the team. That brings us most of the way through. Tomorrow we move on to the second row, then the back row, the day after. It's all ticking along very nicely. I hope you all agree with at least one of the teams so far. That'd be a surprise, judged on some of the comments. Yes, I did deliberately pick Ali Price. I wasn't held at gunpoint by Finn Russell and his mum or anything. Thank you for watching them. We'll be back very soon with more, won't we?
Yes, specifically second rows and back rows. That's the rest of the team.
Thanks.
A metal welder, but underwater. I've done it, but I still don't understand how I don't get electrocuted while doing it.